Good day everybody and welcome to Mind Prosperity. Today I have a very exciting interview on stress solutions in the workplace. I want to encourage you to like, to subscribe and to comment on this video. This helps us to get the message out to many other people, and if you believe this message benefits you and it can benefit other people, and I want to encourage you to send this message to others because we do believe it's going to help them as well. Today I'm very excited to announce to you my interview that I will have with Thinus de Vries. He works at a company called Vries, and today he's going to teach you about and encourage you on how to handle stress in the workplace. This is an interview we had called Stress Solutions in the Workplace, and we do believe it's going to help teach and encourage you a lot. Here's my interview with Thinus. Enjoy. Okay, hello everybody. It's such a great honor and privilege to have you all here watching. Whenever you are watching, wherever you are watching from, today I'm very excited to talk with Thinus de Vries. He is an international audit partner at Vries here in South Africa. And today we're going to speak about stress in the workplace. And we're going to try to make it as fun as we can. Thinus, welcome. Thank you so much for being here on our channel today.
Albert, thank you very much. It's a great privilege to be here with you today.
I'm very, very excited. You know, we're a channel called Mind Prosperity. The idea was basically from a Taylor Swift song. And she said in the song, you take my hand and you drag me head first, fearless. that thing that said head first, that caught my attention, head first. And I think it's a lot the same with a lot of things in life, head first. That's why we call it mind prosperity, because your mind has to go first, your head has to go first, your thoughts has to go first. And that's got nothing to do with the interview. That's just trying to explain to everybody what we are all about at Mind Prosperity. So today we're going to speak about stress in the workplace. I'm going to ask Thinus some questions on how to handle stress, and as you can see, he's extremely calm. So he's the right person. So he's the right person. You know, we've just been speaking. Actually, before we went on camera, we've just been speaking about the topic and how stress is really rampant everywhere today, and a lot of young people, and when we say young people, we're speaking about people under the age of 60 years old, are experiencing this. What do you believe are some of the reasons people are experiencing stress in the workplace so rapidly and largely today?
Albert, yeah, I think the main reason is expectations.
Okay.
And I think it's expectations, first of all, about themselves. It's maybe expectations that somebody else have of them. Maybe a family member, or maybe that your colleagues or your boss, your senior have of you. And I think then secondly is to be realistic, is to make sure that what you actually want to achieve in the workplace, is that capable? Okay. Is that something that you really need to do or want to do? So I think that's the one thing which we really see is, but especially on the expectations.
So when we speak about expectation, I want to see if I understand you correctly. Expectation is almost like a fantasy. Like there's this kind of like fantasy idea expectation that I have. There's this fantasy idea expectation that other people have of me, and then there's reality.
Yeah.
And then that gap is kind of like where the stress falls in.
And I think, Albert, as another example on that is, if you use social media as an example, is there's sometimes an expectation when you look at somebody's social media platform that everything is going well and you're getting 200, 300 likes. But we should remember is you will always just post the good stuff
we do.
On social media.
Yeah.
And then people sometimes have this fantasy life, and then you have the expectation that is the way it should be, and especially in the work environment. So you will see somebody who's traveling abroad, and you'll post that on social media, and then the employees think that this is the way you're going to spend your whole time in the work environment. So I think that is just to stay true to the circumstances, actually.
That's very, very good. And funny thing is, like almost every single interview, almost every single talk that we do talks with people on different subjects. You know, we do it on marriage, relationships, other things that we are dealing with. You know, I think this is one of the first time we're doing it with somebody actually in the work environment, and every single person brings up the social media thing. And we do it too. Like, I'm not trying to say like we don't do it. We have 4 beautiful lights on us. We have 2 of the best cameras on us. We are, because this is going on social media, and we're not trying to say to anybody, put your worst picture on social media. Put your, take the worst pictures of your company, put that on social media. What we are saying is there's something else that people don't show. And then there's like, now I'm talking too much. Then there's this comparison. And
I think it's actually the reality.
Yeah.
I think if I need to summarize that in one word, is the reality. So there's the expectation that people have, and then how it actually is in the real environment.
And if you would say, if I can ask this question, what would you say to people is reality? What should their expectation, what should their realistic expectation be?
In the work environment, it is purely to know that it is hard work, and you need to climb the corporate ladder. It's not a thing of coming in here on any work environment, and on day one think you're going to be on top.
Oh yeah.
There is some steps that you need to go through and gain the experience. And we especially see it with the new generation, is that people might feel that you're going to come in here day one and you need to attend the board meetings, be part of the decision making, etc. And I always summarize that you need to earn your place around the table.
I listen to this one guy a lot. His name is Dr. Darius Daniels. And he says, the reason why we don't immediately get what we do want is because what we do want always comes with what we don't want. And we are ready for what we do want, but we are not ready for what we don't want. And I think that's your explanation. Like, we know you have good ideas, but can you handle the pressure that comes with your ideas? We know you're a hard worker, but can you manage other people? Are you capable of that? And I think that's a thing where patience really comes in. To tell people to be patient, just like life is this marathon. Is that the right word? It's not a sprint.
I was actually having a discussion with the CTA students at the university 2 weeks ago, and I told them the same, because the CTA is a tough year. In the chartered accountant environment, that's a real tough year. And I said that it's typically, a CTA year is not a sprint. You should tackle it as a marathon. And that's the same word out there for the individuals, and especially the young individuals in the corporate work environment.
Sure.
See it as a marathon. Have your goal, your end goal in mind. But it's not, no success happens overnight.
That's brilliant. I want to ask something else. I know I'm a little bit off script now, but do you think, and I'm not saying failure should be an expectation, but failure is normal, to get into a place, and do you think people ever come to that place like, I'm going to bring it, I'm never going to fail, I'm never going to make a mistake, and that can be a lot of pressure?
I think, Albert, that can be the biggest mistake that you can make. The reason being is, I think nobody has ever arrived in life. So you can never be in a position where you can feel that I'm not going to make a mistake. Mistake is part of who we are. And I think that is to once again be realistic and know that you are going to make mistakes along the way, but the important is to learn from those mistakes. And I think I personally often get asked the question, what is my biggest mistake in life? And I don't think I've ever made one biggest mistake. All of them are mistakes, but I've learned so much from those mistakes that I don't count them. I think that's irrelevant.
That's very good.
It's not how hard you fall, but how you stand up.
I think it's Sylvester Stallone who said that in Rocky Balboa. He made this statement. He said, "It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and still move forward." And I think that's one of the realistic expectations that we can say today is there's going to be shots. You're going to be hit. You might have this expectation that your boss or your manager is always going to treat you well, and then one day they treat you not so well, and you think it's about you, but maybe it's because they are going through something, and we don't take that into consideration. And so I think what you are saying now is very, very brilliant about that thing of expectation. So can stress ever be good?
Albert, yeah.
I agree.
I call it the excitement stress.
Yeah.
And if I can use an example, I'm a marathon runner, and
I'm not.
each time before a race, I'm always stressed. But it's typically those pre-race jitters. And once again, with every big presentation, every board presentation that you need to make, I always say the day that I stop having that jitters, those butterflies in my tummy, is the day I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Because that is good stress. But one should be very careful of that the good stress not becomes a barrier for you and becomes your competition, because it can sort of become addictive, that you want to feel this good stress the whole time.
Sure, that's good.
And then that might create bad stress in the future for you, because then you're chasing something the whole time. And I think chasing things in life is never a good thing.
For me, it's like, I know this is going to be a weird example. For me, it's like ice cream. It's good to have it, but if this thing is now controlling you, that you like, I just want to say I'm not a marathon runner, but I do exercise. As you can obviously see.
If you look between the two of us, you would rather be the marathon runner and me not. But yeah, let's keep it there.
So I always use this example of stress, and I say, if you get home and there's a bear in your backyard, or a snake in your room, and you're not stressed, that thing's gonna kill you. So,
and then there's something wrong with you.
And I think, like in the workplace, if you're not stressed, you're not gonna wake up when your alarm goes off. Well, most of us don't do it, but anyway, like, you're not gonna wake up if your alarm goes off if there's no form of good stress, if you can say that. For me, I always say good stress energizes you, bad stress paralyzes you. So what we are trying to say to people today, when we're speaking about stress solutions, we're not saying don't have it, because that would be like lying to everybody.
That would be totally unrealistic. I mean, it doesn't matter in what phase. If it's in business, if it's in sport, stress is always there. It's just the way how you deal with it.
That's very, very good. So how would you say how can a person manage the stress in the workplace?
Well, but I think it's all about, first of all, balance. Is you need to have balance in life. So thereby, I'm not saying that you're never going to work, because work is part of the balance. But you need to have a balanced lifestyle, and thereby you need to spend time with loved ones.
With loved
ones.
Loved
with your
ones.
Family
I heard
members.
loved bonds.
Your loved ones. with your family members.
Okay.
You need to spend time with yourself, and you need to exercise.
Amen.
And I think for me personally, exercising is one of those things that really energizes me again, and is my stress reliever. Because it's that 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever that you spend on the road, where you sort of get your thoughts together and re-energize yourself.
And studies also show that exercise releases endorphins. It has an influence on the release of neurotransmitters. So that's a very, very important thing, and I always do encourage people to exercise. And I love what you say about spending time with people. Make time to spend time with people, because I believe we are created for relationship. So I love that thing where you speak about balance. That's really amazing. So what if a colleague has a lot of stress or experiences a lot of stress, and you kind of in that environment? Because I do believe another person's stress can affect you. I want to use this example. We always, like it was at school, like when you write a test and you feel kind of okay, and then you get to the place, and then somebody else is stressed, and then they ask you a question, you're like, what are you? It's kind of like their stress is now becoming yours. Like, I thought I was okay until you showed up. So if there's somebody in your work environment that kind of like experiences a lot of stress, their stress might even affect you, how would you deal with that?
Well, but I think first of all is we need to understand that stress is all over in the work environment. And then you need to distinguish who is contributing to that stress. Am I part of that? And if I'm contributing to adding stress to the individual, need to understand what contribution I'm doing. I think that is the first step. And I think secondly is just to be there for the person, be the ear. Because sometimes when you're stressed, you sort of lose this whole perspective actually of what is going on. And if the individual just speaks to you and him or her hear themselves, sometimes they realize, oh, it's not as bad. And then they can continue. So I think it's to summarize is to just be an ear and be there for that individual.
You made a statement and you said, is it something that I did that stressed you out? Is that kind of correct? Is that like a normal question to ask? Like, did I actually stress you out? And what if they say yes? I'm wondering for my sake.
I don't think you will need to ask the question directly.
Yeah.
I think it's to understand what contributes to it.
Okay.
Is it maybe a comment that I've made?
Okay.
For example, I do all the work but you do nothing. Just a silly joke. But I mean, in certain individuals, that can have an impact.
Sure. So even a joke can have an impact.
Yeah.
Please cut that. Are there any other things outside of the workplace people can do? Like you spoke about family, you spoke about exercise, but are there any other things that people can do outside of the workplace to relieve stress?
Oh, but I think I spoke about the balance as well, and I think one of the balance portions is religion as well. So I think you need to spend time with your religion group, with your support group there as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that's also a support structure.
That's good.
Where one can support each other and help reduce that stress.
That's very, very good. And what would you say about, so this is basically a group outside of the workplace, and this is just a question for me, I don't know whether this is actually a thing, but do you think it's a good thing to spend time with colleagues outside of the workplace? Like is that kind of a good stress reliever, or does it just add more stress? Like, I don't want to see you outside of the building.
But if you're working in finance, I think that's the only friends that you have, because you spend so much time with each other. I think it's good because you share something in common. As long as when you spend time together at a braai or having coffee, that the work just doesn't take that discussion over, because then it sort of beats the whole purpose. And then it can sometimes just be a grumping session, and it doesn't contribute to relieving the stress and spending fun time together.
You have a wife, and you speak about family commitments, and this balance between family commitments and work pressure. I think that's something that people struggle to handle. How would you say a person handles that?
Oh, but that is very topical, and I think especially after the pandemic, where certain people spend a lot more time at home and back to some sort of normal working environment now. We do see this often. Personally, for me, it might sound like a cliche, but family always first.
That's good. Yeah.
Definitely. But you need to plan. If you do have a client deadline, but you have a family function at the same time, you need to plan upfront and make sure that you reach your deadline so that you can spend time with your family. And to make sure that when you spend time with your family, that you are in the moment. And that you're not worrying or stressing about the work situation at that time frame.
And I think it's important the other way around as well. Like, don't be at work and worry about your family the whole time, and don't be at your family and worry about the work the whole time. What if something unplanned happens? Like, say for instance, like you have the deadline and you have the family meeting. Now you finish the deadline, you're on your way to the family meeting, and you get a phone call, and now the phone call is also work related. How would you handle a situation like that?
Oh, but I think there one needs to have a relationship with the individuals that you work with as well, or with the client. I mean, to make sure, is this really urgent, or is it something that can wait for tomorrow? And I think that is where communication comes in. Is one need to surround yourself with people who similar minded, or think the same. And when you're in a situation, I mean, there's nothing wrong to pick up a phone and say, sorry, I won't be able to do this. I need to spend time with my family. For example, if it is someone's birthday or it's a graduation or something special, I would expect the individual on the other side to understand that. Because if the roles were to be reversed, I think the individual would have expected the same from us as well.
And if say for instance I'm married now for a few months and I just got this job, I'm new at this job, and now my wife expects me to be at home, but my boss tells me, you need to do this tonight, and I'm worried about this. But if my I don't have a wife, I don't have a wife advertisement. Please scroll my number. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just asking like a general question that I think people might be like, yeah, but I just started this job and I cannot really tell my boss now that I have a family that I have to go, or can a person, or should you be able to?
Oh, but I can only make it applicable to my personal experiences, and I think that is where communication comes in. I mean, that's a discussion that you need to have with your husband or wife, and to make sure what's the expectations. I mean, it's not possible or healthy to just work.
Yeah, definitely.
So if it is in a situation where you need to prove yourself in a new work environment, the spouse would also understand that and support that. But I think it's to make sure that everybody is on the same page and working towards the same goal. But one should remember then to give back as well, is when you spend time with your spouse, that it is quality time. And that your mind is not then still at the work and you neglecting that individual.
How would you say a person separates that between like, I have this work stress and I also need to have a quality family life, and these two has to be separated? Like kind of like, I don't think I need to use an example, but this one just popped up and I'm kind of excited about it, so I'm going to use it. So I'm gonna have pizza and I'm gonna have ice cream. But I cannot mix the two. It's not like I'm going to ruin both. I don't know if that was a good example. I just thought it was necessary. So my question is, how do I effectively separate work stress, work pressure, and a good quality family life?
Oh, but that is a very difficult question.
That's why I'm asking it. If I could answer it, we wouldn't be here.
But I think on a personal level, how I deal with it is when I get home, is that I am in the moment there.
That's very good.
So it might sound strange, and yes, I am doing it, is I would drive around the block 3, 4, 5 times, whatever is needed for me.
That's good.
To when I stop at home, when I get out of the car, that I am in the moment, excited to see my wife at home, the family when they're there, and not walk in there still with a work mindset.
That's very good.
Because then you're not in the moment.
That's very, very good. I love that, because it basically says like, for him it's like driving around the block. But what you're actually saying is like, do whatever you need to do to pause and to say, listen, I want to get from this place to this place.
Yeah.
If I can use the example again, you order the pizza, and then when the pizza is finished and the plate is taken away, then you order the ice cream and you prepare yourself now to eat the ice cream. You don't order the two together, and while you're eating the pizza, you look at the ice cream. It's kind of like just take that little break. Just take that moment to think about it, to get into the moment. And I've interviewed somebody recently about mindfulness, and he spoke about the spotlight. Like everything around you is happening, but you can choose where you put the spotlight right now. And I think what you are saying is just to take some time to get to that place where you can rearrange that spotlight. I'm not saying this is not here. I'm not saying this doesn't exist. I'm just saying I'm going to move the spotlight now into a certain direction.
I think that once again comes back to balance, is to be focused. I like the example of the spotlight. I think that is what you are currently focused on.
So you didn't like the pizza one?
Is to make sure that you are focused on whether what you are busy with. Otherwise, you have the risk of doing two things half, and you're not going to get the benefit from either one of the two.
Yeah, and I think I've also read a study that was called milkshake multitasking, not my example, and And it's kind of like you just put everything in this blender and you're trying to mix it all together. And the study said it's not good for your brain. And it's about multitasking. Multitasking is not good for your brain because it takes your brain time. Let's use the spotlight example again. It takes your brain time to move from one thing to a different thing. And now you're moving this thing between two things all the time. And I think you don't even get 25% of the information in. So it's not like you're putting it 50-50. I don't think we are even able to do that. If it's not 100%, it's kind of like less than 20%. And one thing that I really like about today, or two things that really stood out for me, is balance. Let's put everything in. Let's make sure everything gets its place. So balance is one thing that stood out. Other thing that stood out for me is patience. You know, give something time to grow. Don't try to grow it immediately. Everything doesn't have to grow now. Any other thoughts you would like to share?
Oh, but yeah, I think one thing that I would share with the people is a principle that I apply.
Okay, great.
And I call it the full stop principle. So I have daily full stops, weekly full stops, monthly full stops, and yearly full stops. And that is sort of a reset mechanism that I use.
That's good.
Is to make sure that when I do my daily full stop, that I grant my mind, my brain the opportunity to know that this day is gone.
That's good.
We're gonna go and sleep now.
That's good.
And the weekly one is to celebrate the week that was, the monthly one, the week that was, and then the yearly one is the month that was.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
and the yearly one is to switch off and fully reset for the next year.
And if you say you celebrate the week, and I just want to get it to this, that again doesn't mean everything in the week was great.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean everything in the work worked out the way I wanted it to work out. What do you, is there something specifically you would celebrate, or a specific way that you would celebrate?
Oh, but no, for me it's all about having a braai, or having a steak. I think that's the most important thing. And I think the celebration is the good and the bad.
That's good. I like that.
And to make sure the things that was not so great, that you learn from those and turn those into positives for the next week, and to learn from them.
I really like that. Celebrate the bad. I have a lot to celebrate. Celebrate the bad, not in the sense of, you know, I'm so happy I did that, but I'm so happy I can learn from it. Yeah. I'm so happy I can grow through this. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's a very, very good principle that I believe we all can learn. The full stop principle. Really, you must write a book one day. The full stop principle. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. Thank you very much for being on our channel today. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with the people. I do believe a lot of people have learned a lot of good things. I know I did. I'm going to watch this video again with my notebook and pen. Full stop.
No pun intended.
I always have a pun intended. That's one of my 17 talents. No, I'm just kidding. It's a joke. Sarcasm is one of them. But I really want to thank you, and this was brilliant, and I do believe people have learned a lot from this.
Awesome. Almost thank you, and all of the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys soon again from Mind Prosperity. We love you. See you soon again, and goodbye.